Deep in the middle of a vast desert, where endless sand hides forgotten history, four explorers discover something impossible, a gigantic ancient well buried beneath the dunes. No maps mention it, no modern traveler has ever seen it. But when they look inside, they realize this is not just a well, it's the entrance to a hidden underground world lost for centuries. As they descend deeper into darkness, they uncover secrets of an ancient civilization that once survived in the harshest place on Earth. What they find at the bottom will change everything they believed about the desert forever. Hello everyone. Before we start, join our YouTube family by subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to like this video and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, let's get into the story. The desert stretched endlessly in every direction, a sea of golden sand shaped by wind and time. Under the burning sun, the horizon shimmered like a mirage, making distance impossible to judge. Four explorers, Alex, Ryan, Jake, and Liam, walked steadily across the dunes, their boots sinking slightly into the hot sand with every step. They had spent months preparing for this expedition, driven by a legend that many believed was nothing more than a myth. According to old travelers' stories, somewhere deep within this desert existed a massive ancient well, not an ordinary water source, but a structure so large that entire caravans once gathered around it. Some said it was built by a forgotten civilization, while others believed it appeared naturally and was later shaped by human hands. No modern map marked its location, and no confirmed photographs existed. That mystery alone was enough to bring the four friends here. The journey had already taken several exhausting days. The heat was relentless during daylight hours, forcing them to travel carefully and conserve energy. At night, temperatures dropped sharply, and the desert transformed into a silent, freezing landscape filled with stars brighter than any city sky. Despite the harsh conditions, the group's excitement never faded. Every dune they crossed felt like one step closer to discovery. Alex, the group's videographer, adjusted his camera while walking. "If this well actually exists," he said, recording the endless dunes around them, "this could be one of the greatest discoveries we've ever made." Ryan, who handled navigation, checked their coordinates again, using a GPS device combined with old hand-drawn maps they had collected from historians. "We're close," he said confidently. "The terrain matches the descriptions from the old caravan journals." Jake laughed lightly, wiping sweat from his forehead. "You've been saying that for 2 days." But Liam remained quiet, scanning the landscape carefully. He had learned during past expeditions that deserts often hid their secrets until the very last moment. The wind began to rise slowly, carrying fine grains of sand across the surface like waves. The explorers wrapped scarves around their faces to protect themselves. Visibility dropped slightly, and the world turned into shades of gold and amber. Then Alex suddenly stopped walking. "Wait, do you see that?" The others followed his gaze toward a distant shape breaking the smooth pattern of dunes. At first it looked like a shadow, but as they moved closer, the structure became clearer. A massive circular formation, emerging from beneath the sand. Their pace quickened despite exhaustion. As they climbed the final dune, the full scale of the discovery revealed itself. Before them stood an enormous stone well, far larger than anything they had imagined. Its circular rim stretched dozens of meters across, constructed from massive stone blocks worn smooth by centuries of sandstorms. Parts of it were buried while other sections stood exposed, casting deep shadows into its interior. For a moment none of them spoke. The legend was real. Jake walked slowly toward the edge. "This thing, it's huge," he whispered. Alex immediately began filming, circling the structure to capture its size. The stones were ancient, cracked but still perfectly aligned. Whoever built this well had possessed incredible engineering skill. Ryan knelt near the rim, brushing sand away from carved patterns barely visible beneath layers of dust. The markings were faded, but clearly intentional. Geometric shapes and flowing lines unlike any modern design. "These carvings are old," he said quietly. "Very old." Liam approached the edge carefully and looked down. Darkness swallowed the interior completely. He dropped a small stone into the well. Several seconds passed before a faint echo returned from deep below. "That's incredibly deep," he said. A strange feeling settled over the group. Excitement mixed with unease. Standing at the rim felt like standing at the entrance to another world. Cool air rose gently from below, a sharp contrast to the desert heat above. They set down their equipment and began documenting everything. Alex filmed wide shots while Ryan measured the diameter using laser tools. Jake examined the surrounding ground and noticed faint depressions, suggesting that many people had once gathered here long ago. "This wasn't just a well," Jake said. "This was a meeting place." The idea fascinated them. In the middle of one of the harshest environments on Earth, Ancient people had created a structure capable of sustaining life. As the sun moved across the sky, shadows shifted across the stone rim, revealing more carvings hidden beneath sand. Some appeared symbolic, possibly directions or records left by travelers. Liam felt a chill despite the heat. Imagine how many generations depended on this place. They unpacked ropes, harnesses, and lights, preparing for exploration. The decision was unanimous. They had to descend. Before beginning, they stood together at the edge, staring into the darkness below. The desert wind howled softly behind them, while the well remained silent, waiting. Alex turned his camera toward the group. "We came looking for a legend," he said, "and now we're about to step into it." One by one, they secured their ropes to strong anchor points along the ancient stone rim. The equipment looked modern against the weathered structure, a meeting of past and present. As Alex lowered a powerful light into the well, the beam revealed massive stone walls descending endlessly downward. Dust particles floated through the air, glowing briefly before disappearing into shadow. The depth seemed impossible. Ryan took a deep breath. "All right," he said. "Let's see what this place has been hiding all these years." With that, the explorers prepared to descend into the giant desert well, unaware that the deeper they went, the more extraordinary the mystery would become. The ropes tightened as Alex, Ryan, Jake, and Liam began their descent into the massive desert well. The sunlight above slowly shrank into a bright circle as they moved deeper, replaced by cool shadows that wrapped around the ancient stone walls. The temperature dropped noticeably, offering relief from the desert heat, but also creating an eerie stillness that made every sound echo endlessly. Alex descended first, his helmet light cutting through the darkness. The stone walls surrounding him were enormous, made from carefully stacked blocks that fit together perfectly. Despite centuries of erosion, fine sand drifted downward with every movement, falling silently into the depths below. "This structure is unbelievable," Alex said into his recorder. "The engineering alone suggests advanced planning. Whoever built this knew exactly what they were doing." Ryan followed closely behind, examining the walls as he descended. He noticed shallow carvings appearing more frequently the deeper they went. Some resembled symbols, while others looked like directional markings or maps worn down by time. "These aren't decorative," Ryan called upward. "They look functional. Maybe guides for people climbing down." Jake and Liam descended last, managing the ropes carefully. The scale of the well became clearer with every meter. The walls curved smoothly, forming a perfect circle that extended far beyond the reach of their lights. Halfway down, they reached a wide stone ledge carved directly into the wall. The explorers paused there to rest. Standing on the ledge felt surreal. Above them was the distant desert sky, and below was darkness that seemed endless. Jake shined his light across the ledge and noticed small openings carved into the rock face. Some were shallow storage spaces, while others extended inward like tunnels. "Looks like resting points," he said. "Travelers probably stopped here during descent." Liam examined the floor and found fragments of pottery partially buried in sand. The pieces were fragile but clearly handmade, decorated with faded patterns. "This confirms people use this place regularly," Liam said quietly. Alex filmed the discovery carefully, capturing close-ups of every detail. The realization grew stronger. This well had once been a vital lifeline in the desert, sustaining travelers crossing dangerous terrain. After a short break, they continued descending. The air became cooler and slightly damp, something completely unexpected in the middle of a desert. A faint sound reached their ears, almost too soft to notice at first. Dripping water. They exchanged surprised glances. "Did you hear that?" Jake asked. Ryan nodded. "Water means we're close to the bottom." Excitement replaced fatigue as they continued downward. The walls began changing color, darker minerals appearing between the stones. Moisture glistened faintly under their lights. Soon the well widened dramatically into a massive underground chamber. The explorers carefully stepped onto solid ground after their long descent, unclipping from the ropes and taking a moment to absorb the scene around them. The chamber was enormous, far larger than they had expected. Natural rock formations blended seamlessly with the constructed stone walls, suggesting that ancient builders had worked alongside natural geology rather than against it. At the center of the chamber lay a shallow pool of perfectly clear water. The surface reflected their lights like glass. For a moment, none of them spoke. "In the middle of a desert," Liam whispered, "an underground water source." Ryan knelt beside the pool and tested the water carefully. "Cool and clean," he said in disbelief. "This explains everything." The well wasn't just symbolic, it was survival. The chamber walls contained additional tunnels branching outward in different directions. Some were natural caves, while others appeared shaped by human hands long ago. Alex slowly walked around the chamber filming wide shots. This place must have supported entire caravans, he said. People probably traveled for weeks just to reach this water. Jake examined stone platforms near the walls, possibly used for resting or storing supplies. Burn marks suggested old fires once lit the chamber, illuminating it for travelers seeking refuge from the desert above. The atmosphere felt peaceful yet mysterious, as though the space still remembered the lives that once depended on it. Liam discovered another passage leading away from the chamber. A cool breeze flowed gently through it, indicating deeper tunnels beyond. Should we check it? He asked. Ryan hesitated briefly before nodding. Carefully. We don't know how stable these tunnels are. They entered slowly, light scanning every surface. The passage revealed more carvings, clearer now, protected from erosion. Some showed simple figures carrying containers. Others appeared to depict desert landscapes and stars. It's a record, Ryan realized. They were documenting journeys. The idea amazed them. The well was not only a water source but also a historical archive preserved underground. After exploring the tunnel for several minutes, they returned to the main chamber, realizing they had already uncovered more than they ever expected. Standing together beside the underground pool, the explorers felt a deep connection to the past. The silence was no longer eerie. It felt respectful, almost welcoming. Above them, the desert continued endlessly, unaware of the hidden world beneath its sands. Alex turned off his camera briefly and smiled. We didn't just find a well, he said. We found a forgotten civilization's lifeline. But as they prepared to document the final details, none of them realized that the greatest discovery of all still waited beyond the passages they had yet to explore. The underground chamber remained silent as Alex, Ryan, Jake, and Liam stood beside the clear pool of water, absorbing the magnitude of their discovery. The soft echo of dripping water created a steady rhythm, almost calming after the long descent through darkness. Above them lay the harsh desert, but down here the air was cool, still, and strangely alive with history. After resting briefly, the explorers decided to examine the remaining tunnels, branching from the chamber. Each passage looked slightly different, some narrow and natural, others shaped deliberately with smooth walls and carved edges. Ryan marked their starting point carefully to avoid getting lost, while Alex ensured every moment was documented on camera. They chose the widest tunnel first. The passage sloped gently downward, and the walls became smoother as they advanced. Their lights revealed more carvings, clearer and more detailed than those near the well shaft. Figures appeared to show travelers carrying containers, animals walking beside groups of people, and symbols that resembled stars and flowing water. These look like stories, Liam said quietly. Maybe records of journeys or survival. Jake ran his flashlight along a section of wall where a large carving showed. People gathered around a circular structure, unmistakably the well above them. The figures raised their arms toward it, suggesting importance far beyond simple survival. This place wasn't just practical, Jake said. It was sacred. The realization changed how they viewed everything around them. The well was not merely engineering. It was a center of life, hope, and community for people crossing an unforgiving environment. As they moved deeper, the tunnel widened into another chamber, smaller than the first, but filled with stone platforms arranged along the walls. Broken pottery and worn tools lay scattered across the floor, preserved by the dry underground air. Ryan examined a clay container carefully. Storage, he said. Food or water supplies. Travelers must have rested here for days. Alex captured wide shots of the chamber, amazed by how well-preserved everything remained. It felt as though time itself had slowed underground, protecting the past from decay. Suddenly Liam noticed a faint breeze flowing from a narrow crack high in the wall. He shone his light upward and saw a thin shaft leading toward the surface. That must connect somewhere outside, he said. Ventilation. It explained how fresh air continued circulating throughout the underground system, allowing people to survive here long ago. After documenting the chamber, they returned to the main pool. The explorers realized they had reached the deepest, safe point of their exploration. Continuing further without proper excavation, equipment would risk damaging the fragile structures. They sat quietly near the water, reflecting. We're standing inside a place that saved lives, Alex said softly. Caravans crossing deadly deserts probably depended on this exact spot. Ryan nodded. And somehow it disappeared from history. Jake looked around thoughtfully. Maybe the desert buried the entrances, sandstorms, shifting dunes. Eventually people forgot. The idea felt both sad and beautiful. A civilization slowly erased by nature, yet its greatest creation surviving silently beneath the sands. Before leaving, they took final measurements, photographs, and recordings. Every detail mattered. Their goal was not to claim the discovery, but to preserve its story responsibly. Climbing back up the well proved more difficult than descending. The rope stretched upward into darkness as they began the long ascent. One by one, they climbed slowly, stopping at ledges to rest. The circle of sunlight above grew larger with every meter. As Alex reached the top first, warm desert air rushed toward him. He pulled himself over the ancient stone rim and stood, once again under the open sky. The brightness felt overwhelming after hours underground. Soon the others joined him. The desert stretched endlessly around them, unchanged, silent, and vast. From above, the well looked mysterious yet peaceful, as though it had returned to sleep after revealing its secrets. They removed their gear and sat near the rim, drinking water and watching the shifting dunes. None of them spoke for a while. Finally, Liam broke the silence. "We should protect this place." Everyone agreed instantly. They decided not to reveal the exact location publicly. Instead, they would share the story responsibly, with researchers who could preserve the site without destroying its integrity. Alex filmed one last shot of the well from a distance, a massive ancient circle surrounded by endless sand, glowing under the afternoon sun. "We came searching for a legend," he said quietly into the camera, "and found proof that human ingenuity once turned the harshest desert into a place of life." As evening approached, long shadows stretched across the dunes. The explorers packed their equipment and began walking away from the well, leaving it exactly as they had found it. Behind them, the ancient structure stood silently, guarding its underground chambers and hidden water, a timeless secret beneath the desert. The wind slowly covered their footprints, erasing signs of their presence. Soon, nothing remained except sand and silence. But the story of the giant desert well would travel with the four explorers, forever. A reminder that even in the driest, most unforgiving places on Earth, history, life, and mystery can still survive, waiting patiently for those brave enough to search for them.